giving you an opportunity to get the full story from the people who tell it best. This is Mediacom News Leaders.
Hello everyone and welcome to Mediacom News Leaders. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Carol Kelly. Joining us today from Shelter House in Iowa City, we've got Angelica Vannatta. Angelica, welcome.
Hi.
So in Iowa, obviously extreme temperatures is a concern, especially in the December, the January, the February of the year, well below zero sometimes. Right. Tell us how that affects people that are experiencing homelessness.
Sure, yeah, and like you said, in the winter months it can just be really frigid, and we're fortunate enough to have 4 really distinct seasons, but in the winter it can be unbearable sometimes. And when individuals are out in the elements, we can frostbite can start to set in anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and hypothermia starts to set in when our body temperature decreases to below 95 degrees. And so those are really health things that can affect an individual's ability to cope with everything that's going on, right? And so the individuals will sometimes take advantage of sleeping in apartment building stairways or abandoned buildings. And so, you know, they're really just trying to do what they can to stay warm.
So tell us a little bit about some of the resources that Shelter House is offering during the winter months.
Sure, and so for the last several years we've received a special use permit to open an overflow shelter at our building on Southgate Avenue. So we currently have 70 beds, and then in those winter months we're able to increase our lobby space to accommodate 30 additional persons. But then since the winter of 2014-2015, we opened our low barrier winter emergency shelter, which is an off-site facility where people can come and just get out of the elements regardless of any situation. So at the Shelter House building on Southgate, we do have sobriety as a requirement, but for our low barrier shelter, that is not a requirement. We really believe that everybody deserves to stay warm.
And how does that work exactly? Is it just to show up, you know, ultimately when the temperatures are cold?
Yes, and so we opened that low barrier shelter in early December, and so this year, December 3rd, and we'll hope to keep that open through March, so during those really cold months in Iowa. And it's open from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m., and they can just come starting at 5 o'clock, and we'll do a pretty typical intake process, and then they can stay there for the evening.
So obviously in the winter months, I would imagine there are additional costs that come
Yes.
along with the cold temperatures, you know, heating, cooling, that kind of thing. Winter emergency shelter that we talked about as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of those additional costs and really the importance of trying to participate and try and help?
Right, so the winter emergency shelter then is not like a federally funded program. It's a local thing that we have really felt was really important to offer that service within the community. So we provide the staffing, and again, it's 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. Monday through Sunday, every day of the week. So those overhead costs for staff are some of those additional costs that we incur. And then of course, just the utilities to keep that space warm and to have, you know, electricity and running water and all those sorts of things. So those are the additional costs, just the operations of having that facility available.
So how would the community help support? Is it donations? Is it volunteers? Tell us a little bit about how we can help.
Sure, it would be both of those things. And in order to operate that winter shelter, we have a campaign called Out of the Cold, and it is our outreach, awareness, and fundraising campaign. Our goal is to raise $100,000 to help support that facility. And so individuals can donate, go to our website at shelterhouseiowa.org/donate. If they're interested in providing in-kind donations like non-perishable foods or pillows and blankets, they can contact our main office and get that coordinated. And then of course volunteers. We need volunteers to help us staff that space.
And we have to mention it is December, so year-end gift giving. This is a perfect time to do so. And again, how simple is that to donate?
Yeah, so they can just go donate online, shelterhouseiowa.org/donate. It also will have our address if they want to send us in a donation check.
Oh, so many good things you're doing for the community. Thanks so much, Angelica. This has been Mediacom News Leaders, your opportunity to get the full story from the most reliable sources exclusively on Mediacom News Leaders.